Gun talk. Gun talk.
All fine. We're warming up.
Yeah.
I feel much warmer now. All right. So good to be here with Paulo Martins, performance shooter, ex-military. We're going to talk also about tactical shooting because a lot of you ask this question. I get these questions asked a lot. Probably too, or it is a big topic. What is tactical shooting exactly and so forth. But first, to begin with, what is your military background?
So I was in a special missions unit in Portugal, commando type, and that's my first contact with shooting. I thought, these guys were like the best, right? And funnily enough, it's when I left the military and I started to see performance shooters, aka competition shooters, IPSC, USPSA. I started to actually realize that I didn't know that much. I had much to learn. And funnily enough, I'm a much better shooter now that I learned from these types of dudes, grandmasters, stuff like that, than I ever was at the military.
And this is interesting thinking about the fact that probably most people have the idea that military special mission unit, they are the best shooters in the world.
They are the best combat shooters in the world.
Okay.
Remember, everybody is really good until someone shoots back at you. So then you need to deliver kinetic energy on target as fast as you can, which is actually what competition shooters do. They just do it for points, hit factor. So, especially if you ask me, Paulo, so they are not the best shooters in the world. No, they're not. But they are the best, let's say, hostage rescuers in the world. Yes, they are. So there are different types of skills. For example, jumping out of planes, leaving a submarine, rucking, doing reconnaissance work. So this is all explosions, underwater demolitions. So this is a lot of stuff. You have to be a bit of a jack of all trades, but you will never be the best shooter in the world. You cannot beat someone like Red Bull team jumping out of planes. You will not be the best demolitions guy. So doing everything really well, but not the very best.
Got it. And so this was a couple of years back. You came out of the
Many
military and you were still interested in shooting when you came out of the military. And then how did you get into, let's say, performance shooting or keep on shooting? How did this happen?
So when I left the military, I joined a competition and it didn't went well. And then I looked to my left and to my right. There was guys, they were like, so I was 26 at the time. There was guys with 42. There was guys with 18. So everybody else was better than me. And this was like a big punch in my face, especially my ego, because I come from this specialized unit or whatever. And this was, let's say, an eye-opener. So I started to see what they were doing, how they were training, who are they learning from. And then it was by then that I realized that it was a serious gap in skill. Also, like in simple stuff like shooting on the move, there was no question about are you precise or are you fast. They were always both at all times. So this is what turned my senses on to this type of performance shooting.
Okay. And what do you think about people who say, well, I don't care about all this. I just want to go shoot for fun.
That's absolutely okay as long as you shoot alone. Because once you shoot with other people or you go into competition, you're going to get your ass kicked and it's not going to be nice. And a lot of people think that if the shit hits the fan, they will rise to the occasion. I've never seen that happening, not once. So you will go to your lowest level of training. So if your lowest level of training is by yourself, no one pointing the finger, you feel the best because there is only you, well, it's not going to go well for you. I've seen this happening also in live fire. So you should be quite careful with this type of training.
And some people, they're like, they're starting out. Oh, I want to go shooting. Like me, for example, I was shooting in the army, but I mean, I was never in combat or anything. The highest I had was a full magazine in my gun. That's it. And then later, I thought, oh, I need to go shooting. How do I start? How does that work? I mean, I know now how, but what do you suggest? If I would have met you earlier, I would have started probably much better.
I would say starting with a high-level instructor, it's just a time-saving measure. It's a bit of a cheat. Instead of, I mean, I've been shooting for more than 20 years. I could have been 5 times as good as I am now, 5 times, which actually makes me a bit angry because I've met so many idiots and guys that they shouldn't be teaching. They have, let's say, a basic skill set, but they put the title instructor. So my advice to people at home, learn from practical shooters. They are the best shooters in the world. So discard automatically any, let's say, person that says, well, I come from the military. Well, from my own experience, most military, they can't shoot for shit unless you're at the highest level. And when I say highest level, not all units. Honestly, I only know one unit in the world that they are better than everyone else. And the reason why, they have the budget to send in world champions. And then they learn from these practical shooters and they put that in their SOPs. They train like practical shooting. And it's the only unit in the world that does that. And guess what? They outshoot everyone. Tell me a name of a unit. If it's not that one, they outshoot it. And it certainly isn't mine. So train with civilians. This is something that I see a lot, this bromance with special forces dudes. Don't learn from someone in multicam. Learn from someone that shoots 5 times a week, even wears shorts and even Crocs, doesn't matter. He goes to the range, kicks ass, because he trains a lot. He trains at a high level, and he competes. So he doesn't have any problems having his ego tested in competition. So you will save a lot of ammo, a lot of time, and you will be very good in record time, I would say.
Okay. So there's a lot of people, they're actually at the range in multicam, let's say, and they do something they call tactical shooting or tactical training. They don't want anything to do with practical shooting. Why is that?
Because there is no accountability. It's an ego trip. So you bought all this equipment. I mean, high heels in multicam, tanga, everything. And now you need to show it to the world, even by yourself. So even the expression tactical shooting or combat shooting, it doesn't exist. There is only shooting. Or you shoot at a high level or you don't, period. So usually all these tactical stuff, it's a full day training or 2 days. Everybody wearing whatever they want, even if they don't need. I mean, we're talking about helmets with night vision when we train from 9 a.m. to 17. There is no need for night vision. But anyway, they bought the equipment. They need to show to everybody else. And regardless of the targets, regardless of the work you do, there is no accountability. There is no number one and last guy. So everybody shoots, they make boom, everybody's happy. There is no accountability. I mean, if the shots are out or in, it doesn't really matter. There is, it's basically a feel-good type of training. I can just tell if they go to any competition, I have no problem knowing exactly in which position they will stay. You just look at the bottom 10, that's where these people will be. Multicam will not help you.
Okay. So is it true, there's a saying, it says you should go after this, you should go mindset, skills, gear, and not the other way around?
Absolutely. I can give you the perfect example. Boxing. First thing, you need to punch well, efficiently, and hard. It doesn't matter if you, my opponent, have all the best techniques in the world when you can't punch for shit. And I don't know how to dodge really well, counter really well, but if I punch you in the face, it's nights out. You're done. So first, that's shooting. It's punching really well, fast, hard. Then we can add all tactics, and usually tactics, it's in a team-based environment. So CQB, which everybody is talking about, this is for professionals that go through a pipeline, a very tough selection, and then they work as a team. And then maybe you can do proper work. It's not a bunch of dudes that never met. They meet in a weekend, they do some shooting, and okay, we are CQB masters. No, it doesn't work like that. So first, you shoot at a really high level. And then you can throw all tactics in the world. I mean, Juerg, I can teach you all tactics I know. In 6 months, maybe less, you will be as good as I in patrolling, CQB, all the stuff that requires tactics. You will know as much as I do. But the shooting, yeah, it's going to take a lot longer than 6 months. So that's where people should focus, on the shooting itself, not bullshit.
So it's almost like people want to buy gear basically to cover a mindset that is not there and skills that is not there.
Absolutely. I mean, people will buy a 5K gun or rifle, pistol or rifle, with compensators, with everything, so that they try to compensate for a lack of skill. This is why I always try to tell people at home, buy a Glock, something cheap, buy also a cheap rifle, 1500, put a red dot on it, and the rest you spend on ammo and training. Find, again, a proper instructor at a high level that will be a bit of a cheat code. He will point you, okay, do this better, improve on that. You will be much better in no time. You start to get, like, say, a good hang of it. You start to go to competition, you're not last anymore. Now you're instead of number 20, number 10, number 5, number 4. One day you will win, and you want to keep winning. So that's the mindset if you want to be really good at shooting. Because then, if the shit hits the fan, guess what? You will be better than 99.9 people, including guys in the military or police.
So would you say it's often an ego thing that people stay in their bubble?
Absolutely.
And they don't want to compete, and they want to think, wow, we're fine. Look, I'm in the army, or I'm with my army guys, I'm fine.
Absolutely, especially when you train in a group of friends. Group of friends, you always have the worst guy or worst guys, the middle people, and the top guys. So the worst, if you ask the worst guy in the group, so you're the worst, right? No one will admit, no, I'm shit here. I'm actually the worst. No one. So everybody considers himself the middle level dude. And if you ask the top guys, okay, so you're top. So how about going train at someplace else? No, they will not do that, because then it will reveal that they're not that good as they think.
Yeah.
So again, ego trip. I always tell my students, leave ego at the door. It doesn't go inside the range, because then you're a hostage to it. You cannot improve. Very simple tip for everybody at home. You go to your, like a local range or whatever. You see the people shooting. If the targets look really nice, I can tell it's low level shit. I wouldn't train there. So, because that's not how experimentation looks. Experimentation looks, a guy like me at my level, you see my target, it looks like I just started yesterday. Why? I'm experimenting at speeds and distances that I'm not comfortable at all. So everything breaks. It's like I can't shoot for shit, but I'm learning. Otherwise, what people are doing is they go to the range to confirm what they already do. I can shoot at a certain speed at a certain distance. Let me see if I can do it again. Yes, they can. But that's not improvement. Improvement is you shoot at a very uncomfortable pace, not uncontrollable pace, that you don't even hit the target. You hit the target, but just it doesn't look nice. That's where you ask yourself, why is this happening? Why is my technique breaking? And then that's when knowledge and learning takes place. And if you keep on insisting on that, eventually your standards will be much higher than they were last month. For me, if I'm not improving at a monthly basis, I'm doing something wrong.
And at your level, how you make sure that you don't hit the ceiling?
So this is actually a very tough topic for me. Unfortunately, I have very few people in Switzerland, if any, that I can learn anything from. This tells you everything you know about the level. It's very low. So I need to import talent. So I import these grandmasters, USPSA, IPSC world champions, and they come and they are my cheat codes. So what these people have spent millions of rounds, I try to take from them this knowledge, so I can have homework for the next time I see them again. And ask yourself, where does your instructor learns from? Because if they don't compete, because competition is a fantastic instructor. Why? Because you go to competition, unless you win, and even if you win, but usually it's win or learn. You will know immediately where you suck. So is it shooting on the move? Is it transitions? Is it whatever? And then you take these lessons and you dry fire them. You hammer them. So next time, instead of fourth, you're third place, something like that. So that's basically training for free. You don't need any instructor. You go there, see where you suck, and then you work on it. Otherwise, I train with guys that are much, much better than me. Otherwise, I mean, how the hell can I train? So I never see myself, even though I instruct, I give classes, I never see myself actually as an instructor. I always feel that I'm a student. And funnily enough, the more I learn, the more I know that I'm not very good at this. So it's quite frustrating at times. But it's a beautiful journey. It's a journey of rediscovery every time.
I'm new to shooting and I want to get better as in I want to be safe with the gun. I want to be able to have what would be a good quick draw, for example. Maybe you can talk a bit about draws that we should aim for to consider ourselves, let's say, mid-level shooters.
So some say, the great Rob Latham, IPSC world champion, many times, the legendary Rob Latham said, if you can draw at 10 meters in an alpha, so A zone, below 1.3 seconds, move on to something else. So I can shoot quite faster than that, but honestly, I don't know why do I need to do that? So, I mean, if you have like a second draw, second reload, there is honestly no need to chase the sub-second. I did that, found some skill, but it's more like some Instagram bullshit that you don't actually need. It certainly is not going to help me in a stage, because in a stage you draw once. So I can draw in 0.5. Yeah, but I have 60 shots to make. These need to count, not the first one. So also again for shooting on the move, I mean, if you can put your rounds accurately, fast enough, move on to something else. Move on. My advice: there is a lot more to learn shooting fast at very uncomfortable distances than shooting super fast at 3 meters. Especially with rifle. Rifle, if you're not training less than 20 meters rifle, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not really learning anything.
And the basic here we already covered. Now the basic training. So what I understand is, like you were making this example with the guy that wants to get into boxing. So you have to train basics.
Okay. If the basics are sound, then you can evolve to shooting on the move, do this, do that, because the basics are done. But for example, a lot of this tactical bullshit is, shooting from cover, shooting this, shooting that. Well, the shooting itself is shit. Very simple. For you at home, 10 meters, 1.3 seconds from draw, 10 shots in a row, all alpha. If you can't do that, then focus on that. Take off your multicam, your plate carry, all that bullshit that you don't need. Fix that first. And then you can wear all the high heels and night vision you want. But if the shooting is crap, what are we even doing? It's not interesting for me.
Yeah. So why do you think people, like you were saying the level in Switzerland is not that high. It's probably in every country the level is not super high. Why is it? Why is the level not high?
Funnily enough, no. That there are some countries that they're always very good. So we have France, Czech Republic, Poland, Philippines, and the US. So first of all, the access to ranges is very cheap.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the ammo. The ammo is the same price in Switzerland, but access to ranges is cheap. I mean, these guys pay like $250 and they can go the whole year, how much as they want, as long as the range is free. So that's a first. And second, they compete a lot. Every other little Dorf has a shooting club competition, and they compete. Everybody's always competing. Instead of just going to the static range, for example, it's a very Swiss thing, the Feldschießen.
Yeah.
So Feldschießen is quite cool, but I see it, I almost compare like, performance shooting is like an electric car with 1,000 horsepower that drives by itself. And Feldschießen is like, I'm driving like a horse. It's nice, but it's not very effective. First of all, today you have night vision, you had infrared, you put a scope on it. I can hit you from 2 kilometers. You have no chance. You don't even see it. So, and there's nothing you can do. Also, it takes ages to shoot. So you shoot coin size. Great. When is your second shot? Ask yourself. When is your second shot? 5 minutes later, done. You're done. So this is already not interesting enough. So, I mean, I saw snipers in competition, snipers doing like 700 meters, doubles, like boom, boom. And they hit the target. So think for that for a second. So 300, a coin, can you do this? Boom, boom, this tempo. You cannot. So train to that's something that I will be, wow, very impressed. Anything less than that, I'm not impressed. I mean, I buy a big ass scope, I will outshoot anyone without very little training. So that's the relevance. Oh, but Paulo, they do that with iron sights, which is crazy. The level of skill that you need to train to achieve this, I can only imagine what the best Feldschießen in Switzerland can do with a 20 zoom scope. They would be the best snipers in the world. So train that. Train something that is actually relevant, not some stuff that it's dead in the water, especially with drones and stuff. Do something more in the sense of practical shooting, something that will give you a brutal advantage. So that would be my advice.
Makes sense. Before we come to the final question and conclusion, this morning we had a training here at the Schießzentrum Ostschweiz in Weinfelden. What can you say about the range? It's the first time you have been here on the range.
Amazing range. So I always tell everyone, this is a power tip. If you go to a range, regardless if you train half an hour, 5 hours, doesn't matter. If you smell like gunpowder, I can tell you already this range is killing you. You need to wear a mask, otherwise it's not going to be good for you. It's not sustainable. So if your clothes smell like gunpowder, go to someplace else. We were shooting quite aggressively for 3-4 hours, and I smell nothing. So this is a really, first of all, it's huge, 32 meters by 8 or 9. So you can do dynamic shooting. You can set great stages. And great filtration system. You can shoot pistol or rifle. You can basically do whatever training you want. I seriously recommend this one. Alpha, a bit crap, but anyway. It's in Weinfelden. It has great parking space, a bar, even a shop. So have fun. Amazing ring.
Final question and conclusion. People who are shooting probably not as such a high level as they think, and also people who want to get into shooting. If you can kind of wrap it up, how do you get into it? Does it make sense also to start with a low-level instructor or start from the beginning with a high-level instructor? What is your suggestion to those people?
Very simple. Go to matches. Buy a simple Glock. If you're into rifles, buy a rifle. I don't really care. Go to competitions. It's basically free instruction. You go there, you will suck balls. You'll be last. And then, okay, I suck at draw. I suck at target transitions. I cannot hit my targets.
But like somebody, this is people who are already shooting. This gives them a good feedback. But people who aren't shooting at all, like how do they get into shooting anyhow?
Again, buy a gun. Put an A4 paper at 10 meters and train until you can do 10 draws in a row below 1.3 seconds. Until you can graduate from that, just keep doing that. And dry fire. Dry fire, it's the reason I have the skill set that I have. It's not about how many rounds I shoot a year. That's irrelevant. It's all about the dry fire, because dry fire, unless it does more than 2 booms, everything is dry fire. Grandmasters and world champions have access to all the training and ranges in the world for free. And they still do most of their training dry fire. Why? Why? Because they get to isolate skills and they get to think about them without the pressure of the target. Am I hitting my target? Am I, the splits and that? There is no timer needed to do a proper dry fire. Just see if the stuff is smooth. Be critical of your dry fire and do it. I would consider this a daily work. And everybody has 15 minutes to spend. The more you put on it, the more you get from it. So if you want to get really good at shooting, dry fire is key. So do it at home. It's for free. There is a ton of stuff. You can get in contact with me. Paulo, which drill should I do? Get in contact with me. I'll help you. It's my pleasure. But there is a ton of free content in internet. I can also give you some people to follow. They have free content. And you will get really good just trying to emulate the training that these people do, including myself.
Yeah.
And then as the final test, competition. And that's it. It's actually quite easy and inexpensive to get really good at shooting, as long as you have the will to put in the work.
Good stuff. That's a good conclusion, I would say. Thanks a lot that we could talk together. I know we could talk way more and cover way more. It's always interesting talking to you. Anyway, I would say this is our first Gun Talk, but not our last one. So thanks a lot for coming. Thank you that we could be here in Weinfelden.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys soon. Thanks, Paulo.
Anytime. Have a good one.
Gun Talk.